I think the best intelligent automation is actually the one you're not building because you're avoiding the process from the very beginning. So don't automate everything because just it's there or someone has the feeling it has to be there. Really start with the process, the understanding, is it really necessary to have it in the future, and really concentrate on the to-be process. Don't even look at the as-is. If there is no added value in terms you can measure every step, like with process mining, for instance, or stuff like that. I don't care what it is, what's the technology. But if you're not able to measure the as is, don't even look at it because you know it's broken and it's not going to be there tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Engatica's interview series. I'm your host, Anshdeep Kaur, and we're really glad to have you join us today. And today we have Andreas Schmelzer, that's the head of digital transformation and services at Porsche Holdings. Hello, Andreas, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So the Engatica interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world, a platform that provides the latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. So, Andreas, we have some questions for you. That's like, could you brief us about digital transformation and intelligent process automation?
Yeah, sure. So basically, that's what I'm doing, or at least trying to. I would say the very first one is really about the cultural or the strategy kind of approach. Where do we want to go in the future? Because if I don't know where to go, I don't know how, what, or where to transform to. That's the first thing. So it's really combined into the company strategy. That's one part. And the other part is I'm always starting with understanding what the problems are, like these broken business processes, new business models, and stuff like that. And that's the beauty of my job, or when it comes to digital transformation, you can talk about how should the things work in the future. So not looking where we are right now, because we are already there. So no need to transform. But understanding where to develop in the future, that's one thing. And this means it's absolutely use case and business model driven, what we want to achieve and what is actually intelligent automation delivering, what is the expected impact. So meaning if I understand where to go in the future and understanding the process, then I'm choosing the right technology or more than one technology, combining them according to the business need and the business impact. And then we're delivering it either with various standard tools, but it's also legit to combine this with existing tools or existing possibilities like scripting in SAP, for instance, just as an example. At the very end, it's really about delivering it and getting everything into production and keeping it there. So meaning operation and support is actually the focus. The development is most likely the happy path because the people are always happy if there is a new thing happening or if they can use something new. At the same time, if it's not working and you're used to, you might have a problem. And that's why I think you really have to concentrate over the whole delivery cycle and actually about operations and support and not just delivering the process automation.
Right. So how is the intelligent process automation different from robotic process automation?
In my point of view, that's pretty simple. RPA is a name of one specific technology. If you're talking about intelligent process automation, it means it's independent from the kind of complexity I'm trying to automate. It can utilize different interfaces, different integration points, for instance, but also combining it with artificial intelligent solutions, even though I don't like the term AI, but that's another one, but really more complex data models and decision-driven automations. And that's something you most likely have to build within RPA to some certain level, accepting business exceptions. When it comes to intelligent automation, you can try to, or at least develop into the direction that you have less and less business exceptions and really having more run through and actually really useful process automations, meaning a complete process and not just parts of it.
Right. So what are the benefits of intelligent process automation?
also, this is from my point of view, pretty self-explaining, because you can really go to the end-to-end approach, and also the whole workflow automation, and not just single tasks or parts or processes. The workflow can run over, for some use cases, over weeks or months. For instance, if you think about some approvals, for instance, where you have to include customer communication, service levels, tickets, whatever, people are working on it and passing tickets forward and backward, meaning I have a problem. Someone is telling you he or she has fixed it. The customer is testing it, saying, no, it's not fixed, it's still there. And this is going back and forth all the time. And that's, in my point of view, the huge benefit, that you can really fix the end-to-end process and not just parts of it. And intelligent meaning you can go into more complex decision-focused process automations and not just a repetitive task alone.
Right. So what technologies make up this intelligent process automation?
Whatever is necessary for the use case, to be honest.
Right.
It's definitely to some certain level. It could be RPA, it could be BPMS or workflow or DMN systems, so decision systems. It could be either data-driven topics, which I highly recommend if you're going into intelligent automation, to really look into data science or data-driven approaches. It's not necessarily data science, but at least understanding how to work with a huge amount of data, how to model it, how to work with it, and understand the value of it, and how to put it in use, and by asking specific business questions, for instance. That's one of the things. So it could either be as well as OCR or IDP topics. It's simply combined, and that's, I think, even more important, not the specific tools you're using for process automation, so the specific technologies. It's more about the orchestration layer and what's the leading orchestration layer, because at some certain point, if you want to ensure the operations and support, and that your things are really generating an impact and not just a pain in terms of many maintenance and support issues, then you really have to decide at the very beginning on those things. In my point of view, those are BPMS tools. So it's like really the process-driven approach, that you have some kind of integration layer, automation, whatever. But I think that's the base to then include all the different technologies used for this specific use case. And once again, it's absolutely legit. And I think it's really clever to use already existing automation technologies, which are built in different systems, and simply reusing them. For instance, like as I mentioned at the very beginning, with scripting in SAP, it's already provided. It's on itself is not really helpful. But if you are able to include this into an end-to-end or into a more complex process, and including this into an orchestration or into an orchestrated process, then you're having fun, and then it's generating even more impact, and you don't have to take care about it yourself. Is it working? Is it not working? What are the problems? Obviously, there are going to be some, because we are talking about business processes, and you can't avoid that you're encountering new decisions or new topics. And that's definitely one of the huge benefits by actually learning and improving also your workflows or the automations, because digital transformations has two major streams, let's say. The one is the radical change, making something in the future which is not here today. So changing into a different business model, so really transforming everything. But the other one is improving the existing ones, because just being radical, I mean, I like the term, and I really like this part of my job. At the same time, you can't just go with radical innovation through your company and thinking you're generating now the biggest impact. At some certain level, you also have to simply develop and ongoingly make your solutions even better. Because at the very beginning, it's also okay, and it's legit, and I absolutely like the approach. Even radical innovation, it's okay just to deliver, for instance, 60% of the process you would like to achieve at the very end. But you have to develop in the future that you're getting to 80, 90, I don't know, wherever, but put it in use as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and then rework and learn and put the knowledge in place. As your customers and your business processes are evolving, why shouldn't the automation itself evolve? I mean, that has to come hand in hand. We're not making technology for us. We're doing it for some kind of business process.
Right. So, like you mentioned, there are two streams of it. So, how do businesses get started on their IPA transformation?
Oh, that's a big one. I think on one hand, the easiest is by starting an IT project, saying I want to use a specific technology. Most of the time, it's RPA, and let's play around with software robots. And at some point, seeing that it's actually really working, because everyone is a little bit scared in terms of, is it working in my environment, and stuff like that. It's not that they are not believing that the technology itself is working or isn't working. It's about, is it working in my environment? Is it working with my business processes because I'm special? And at the same time, no, to be honest, most likely you're not so special in terms of some part of the process everyone is doing. And most likely the software using someone else might be using this as well. So there is a common place. I think the most efficient ones are starting with a transformation strategy, meaning first of all, they are aware that they need it. So we have to think about how are we working in the future, because it's not like we're doing it today. No one is going to sit as an accountant just in front of the SAP system and hammering numbers in from day in, day out. In the future, yes, they are still doing that, but for special cases. They are doing this where their knowledge is necessary. They are going to train the automations, for instance, or stuff like that. But it's not necessarily just by hammering information from left to right. So if you are aware that you need to change and you have the idea where you want to go in terms of, and that's the thing I'm driving, I just want to put work in front of the computer into my process if there is an added value. So if the person in front of the computer add a value, and the added value is not clicking a button, that's not the added value. It's about their knowledge. It's about their experience. It's about, it could also be, for instance, a legal requirement. Yes, that's also okay. And absolutely legit, but nevertheless, it has to be an added value. If that's not the case, it's not a job for in front of the PC. It has to be inside of the PC. So this means I simply want to get everything automated as good as possible by really assisting the people. That's one part. Then from there, deriving what are the specific goals you want to achieve with automation. So a little bit more detailed than just a strategy or just defining the moon. Yes, it's great, and I absolutely like this approach. At the same time, what are some specific milestones in between? What do we want to achieve? Where do we want to achieve it? How to start? Are you going into a specific area? How do you start? What kind of processes, for instance? And also from there, working onwards, because, and that's also absolutely necessary, to measure it, because you're not doing this because you're just funny or you want to have some bots. I mean, a few do, but nevertheless, I think that's not the common understanding of automation and putting transformation into the company. You really want to achieve something. For instance, increasing the output, having more customers you are being able to serve with the existing manpower, for instance. Those are legit topics, and that's the absolute necessity to measure them at the very beginning. And I think that's it. So you can either start with the technology and really, let's say more a pilot-ish approach by getting your hands dirty from the very beginning and then working onwards, or starting with, you are already aware you have to change, you are going to start ideate, where do you want to be in the future, and from there on understand the certain steps you want to take. And also, and that's about transformation, I think that's the most important part, is the cultural and the human part. because we're developing, in this case, the whole company. We are defining how we are working in the future. This means we have to be able to get everyone on board, or at least having the possibility that they jump on and make their steps in there as well, because basically you have to relearn parts of your job again, even though you're not changing what you're doing, or not your knowledge, or not your working place, but how you're working is definitely different. And that's really about transformation. The technology part is actually, I think, the smallest one. The cultural and the strategy and the putting things in place, that's the most heaviest part.
Right, because that would literally be the change of the whole job domain of that particular person.
Exactly.
Right.
I always tell my teams that we're defining how we're working in the future. And this means there is a responsibility that you need to be transparent, communicate, train the people, enable them, because fear is basically just locking subject matter experts away, so their knowledge. Because if you're feared, or if you're feeling the fear, you're angry or whatever, I don't know, most likely you're not going to share your knowledge. At the same time, it's absolutely necessary to put this knowledge into automation and really put it in use and not locking it away.
Right. So in the future of automation, what do you think would be intelligent process automation's role?
I think that's also something like getting the technology into the second row, and putting the use case and the business impact in the first row. So understanding what do we want to achieve, where, and is there possibility to support it, and not trying just to put intelligent automation on everything without really understanding what, where, how, or what's the kind of pace you want to go. I think that's absolutely necessary. So the more the technology is moving in the back, I think the better you are, or the further you are when it comes to digital transformation. This means it's more in your DNA. It's coming part of the culture and the self-awareness. And that's actually, I think, where we're developing when it comes to intelligent automation. In a few years, if you're going to look back at this video, you're laughing and saying, we've been talking about intelligent automation. Actually, this means going to work. It's not going, it will be a common understanding, and it's a common practice. Like Google, PowerPoint, Excel, I don't know, you name it. This will be definitely it will be in the DNA.
Right, just a part of life.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Seriously, right. So are there any other sound bits you would like to share with the audience?
Yes, I think the best intelligent automation is actually the one you're not building, because you're avoiding the process from the very beginning. So don't automate everything because just it's there, or someone has the feeling it has to be there. Really start with the process, the understanding, is it really necessary to have it in the future, and really concentrate on the to-be process. Don't even look at the as-is. If there is no added value in terms you can measure every step, like with process mining, for instance, or stuff like that. I don't care what it is, what's the technology. But if you're not able to measure the as-is, don't even look at it, because you know it's broken and it's not going to be there tomorrow. So really concentrate on the future and try to avoid or get rid of as many processes as possible. If you still need it, then get to the to-be process and then develop it, but not the other way around. Don't start with, and I'm starting to get really angry also with my students. If anyone is coming with, I need a bot, without even telling me what is the use case, that's something I would really not recommend to do.
Right. Nice. So that was so great. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. And for more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to access to exclusive content from our thought leaders around the globe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you with the new experts soon.